Every strong nation begins with one strong family. Every lasting love starts with a blueprint. I'm Praise for Wowe. I help you design a family strategy that makes love easy, parenting joyful, and your home unshakable.
Hello, how are you? How is everyone today? I mean, it's Friday, and I want to believe that you guys are excited about the weekend. I'm super, super excited as well. I am coming to you live from the city of Texas, and I'm super, super excited that we are able to do this. How are you? How is everything with you? How is your family? I want to appreciate all of you on Instagram. If you're joining me on Instagram, you can just say hi, hello, and let me know where you're joining from. If you're joining on YouTube, let me know where you're joining from. And if you're joining on Facebook, let me know where you're joining from. Well, I'm super, super excited. I mean, it's been a moment of reflection out here in the US. If you've been following, you will know exactly what has happened in the last 2 weeks. A lot of children are scared, they're petrified. Parents are also very scared, and because people don't know what to expect anymore. But I always say to people, if you are intentional enough, there is nothing to be scared of and there is nothing to be afraid of because there is always a way out. Okay, so I want to appreciate Pastor Laura. I want to appreciate Timo Vidia, Ejute Lucky Vibes, Giwa, and everyone joining on Instagram. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you. Now, today I'm going to be talking about rifle parenting, and I mean, I'm asking the question: how much of your child do you know? All right, because it's gotten to a stage where parents are asking questions to say, "How well do I know my child?" I mean, if you're following the Charlie Keck's story, and then you know about the guy that shot him, that is from a religious home. I mean, a student on honors list scholarship. And I mean, it's from a family where the father is a minister, so you couldn't tell me that this guy was not properly brought up in the way of the Lord, like we usually say. The problem is that have we really defined the way of the Lord? Because a lot of the time as parents, we equate a child going to church and a child being quiet, being nice, being kind at home to, that child is a godly child. Every time I'm working with parents, I'm asking who is a godly child. And, the answers they're giving me leaves a lot more to be desired. It makes me wonder, do we really know what we're saying or do we know what we are parenting? And so consistently, we are finding out that people are struggling. A lot of parents, could almost beat their chest that my child is well behaved, that this is who my child is, and then news break, and then you realize that the child you thought you knew wasn't the one that lives under your roof. Now, the worst parenting nightmare is when a child you've properly raised makes the news for the wrong reasons. Everybody wants the child to make the news for the right reason. You want your child to be known as a godly child. You want your child to be known as the child getting all the awards. And then, I mean, a child can still get all the awards, which is basically aptitude when the attitude is wrong. And that's why parenting is not just your child behaving well at home. You need to be able to get into the mind of your child. And that's why we say that if you can hold your child emotionally accountable such that you can get into the innermost part of your child, and your child knows that my father, my mother will understand and they can have conversation about everything and everything, your job is done. You've done a good job. The challenge is the child feels judged, the child knows your standard, the child already feels defeated. And so they will tell you what they think you can handle, and then they will keep away what they think you couldn't handle. But you are the parent, there is nothing you shouldn't be able to handle. But the child knows your stance on certain issues. For example, if you have a child who is very liberal at heart, who believes that humanity first as against religion, and you as a parent, you're telling that child that only Christians are the ones that will make heaven, every other religion is going to hell. The child already, by your conviction, knows enough that he knows what not to tell you because you don't have the capacity to bear that. You may even have the capacity, but the signal you have sent as a parent puts the child in a place where the child cannot trust you with their truth. Are you with me? If you're still listening to me, can you type hi? Okay, now, having said that, as parents, you need to understand how to master your essence. You need to understand how to master your reality in a way that you can create an ideal environment where the potential of the child can find expression. See, you're dealing with Generation Z and Alpha who are not our generation at all. Now, the biggest challenge with them is that you're not just parenting your child. Okay, Chinyere, I can see you type hard. You're not just parenting your child, you are also your child is also being parented by media parents and all kinds of parents. And so it becomes very tough for a lot of parents to exactly know how to get the best out of the child. I mean, I get calls regularly from parents who say to me, Praise, can you help me talk to my child because I don't know what he's thinking? I don't know what is in the mind of my child. I don't know what my child is planning to do. Yeah, that's a reality that many parents have had to deal with, but you must know how to navigate it. Now, a lot of the parents, in America, for example, one of the things they teach your child to do is how to bear the arms, how to shoot. I mean, I went to the gun range for the first time a couple of months ago, and I saw little children that their parents brought to the gun ring to teach them how to shoot. Now, the first question as an African parent on my mind is, if you have taught this child how to shoot, right, and what you have taught him is how to defend himself, does the child has the emotional bandwidth and the maturity to know that this is a self-defense mechanism and not a way to avenge when things don't go his way? Because if you raise a child who is anger prone, anger driven, a child who is not self-regulated, if a mate hurts him at school or somebody takes his boyfriend or a boyfriend, right, and he feels deprived and he feels weak, suddenly he remembers that gun makes him powerful. And so the next thing he's likely going to do is go pick a rifle, threaten someone, or maybe kill someone. Now, we need to understand that we're raising a generation that they may be bright in thinking. I mean, they may be bright in their result and output, but then there's emotional immaturity. And so we are dealing with a case that you want to ask yourself, why do I need to teach a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old how to bear arms, knowing fully well that that's the most critical stage of their development in which they don't have the maturity to handle? I mean, it's like saying that you are teaching a 9-year-old how to drive your car, right? And then you know that things like wearing of seatbelt becomes a problem because it wants to explore, it wants to experiment. And so there is bound to be accident. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, right? Or if you give an internet-enabled phone to an 11-year-old, you know somehow pornography will come into the mix, right? And if it doesn't come into the mix, maybe you're lucky, or because you've safeguarded yourself enough and put enough security in place. And so, having said all of this, the question today is, how much of your child do you really know? And it's a question I want you to really answer honestly. You can put your answer on the chat box. Do you really know your child? I mean, I saw the video, the videos coming out of Nigeria of a particular boarding house where the children were literally smoking Indian hemp. And this is a secondary school student, right? And so for those kind of students, could there be same-sex relationship among them? Because I knew about for Karama when I used to consult in Nigeria, and I know almost all the schools I consulted for as a shade of that. And so a lot of the times, while men slept, the enemy came and sowed tears. So a lot can go wrong while parents are not aware. And so in today's session, I'm just going to give you 5 tips that I think can help you, especially if you are parenting a Generation Z and a Generation Alpha. There is what you need to know, there is how to engage them, and there is a way not to engage them, right? And so if you are ready, I'm just going to share with you 5 tips that I think can help you. Number one thing you need to do is, if you really, really want to get to know your child and parent them appropriately, conduct regular emotional audits, right? Not just behavioral check. Many of you do behavioral check. Oh, my child is at home. My child is not going to a party. My child attends church fellowship and all those things. No, you want to engage your children so you can ask leading questions, open-ended questions like, what made you feel small today? Because whatever makes a child feel small creates a loophole that the child begins to look for something to make him powerful. And so if the child hears that marijuana makes him powerful, he will, go in that direction. If he hears vaping makes him feel good, he will get into that. If he hears sex makes him feel powerful, or if he hears bearing a gun or shooting someone, killing someone, makes him feel powerful, he will do that, right? And that's why you see young girls give out their nudes without even knowing what they're doing. So you want to ask, what made you feel small today? Where did you feel misunderstood today? It's these are leading questions, open-ended questions that can help you get the best out of your child. Are you still with me? Now, number two thing is that you want to decode their personal scripts and belief system. Many of your children have got to believe, because you see, every misbehavior can be traced to a non-discovery of self and a non-remembrance of self. If your child does not know who he is, he's going to mess up. If he forgets who he is, he's going to mess up. And so you want to know, some of the beliefs that they are holding on to, because the society is anti-parenting. The society is churning out all kinds of content which is contesting or contending with the truth that you're teaching your child. So if you are a family that is values driven, there's a counter values out there that is making your child to rebel against what you have held to be true. And so some of the beliefs that we have found out over time from sessions with some of our children is that they believe that they must be perfect to be loved, right? And then things like sibling rivalry, where they think that a child is preferred to another. And you hear things like boys don't cry. So if a child believes that boys don't cry, it's going to warehouse a lot of emotions that eventually, when the emotion busts out, is going to be devastating, right? And so they also have beliefs that I am invincible until I am funny or angry or do something crazy. So you can look back, piggyback to that child that killed, Charlie Kirk, and then you look at him. They said he was very quiet, well behaved, and all. Could he be dealing with low self-esteem and they think he's well behaved? Because I always tell people that when I went through sexual abuse and then I became introverted, my father was really happy that maybe God has taken control of my life, because I was no longer, as troublesome as I used to be. But they didn't know I was dealing with trauma. So it's important for you to be able to understand what beliefs they have about life, what beliefs they have about themselves. And that takes me to number three, which says, don't parent the performance, parent the person. Many of us are parenting the performance. Your children have mastered the password. They know all the right things to say to you. They know everything you want to hear. And so they give it to you, right? Toby, good to see you, right? They know what you want to hear. And so they have passwords. I mean, the other day, I was in Nigeria and I was teaching a group of parents, and I asked them, if a boy and a girl are in front of you, and the boy says, give and it shall be given unto you, and the girl responds, good measure, press down, shaken together, running over, what will you think? All the parents say, oh, wow, it means our children are reading the word of God. It means our children know the word of God. And I laughed. I said, because exactly that's what we're saying, that don't parent the performance, parent the person. Because the reality of what they're saying, the boy is telling the girl, I want oral sex, give, and it shall be given unto you. Give a head, right? The girl saying good measure, press down, shooting together, is not responding to a scripture. The girl is saying, I want more than a head. Are you willing to go all the way? And so if you don't understand this, as a parent, you will be excited that your children are reading the scriptures, reciting the scriptures. Meanwhile, they are doing totally something different. Now, so in parenting the person, you need to ask leading questions again. What are you afraid to tell me? You want to ask your child, what are you afraid to tell me? Right? And don't move away. If he says nothing, say, no, 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 I'm your parent. I love you. Right? And there's nothing you can tell me. I'm not going to be angry. Right? So you want to ask, you want them to be able to trust you, to be able to open up. And whatever they say, don't get upset. Right? Number two, you want to ask, where do you feel safest? Where do you feel safest? Because your child may be going through a whole lot, especially if it's a boy child. He keeps a lot within himself because his father is never vulnerable. So he believes that when men are vulnerable, they are weak. All right. You want to ask also, when do you feel the highest about yourself? When do you feel the most about yourself? You want to ask this question because these are conversation starters. Don't just be that parent who says, sit down, get up, do what is right. Oh, you are God's child. God's children don't do this. God's children don't do that. No, 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 no. That will no longer work in this age and time. And then that takes me to the next thing, which is basically, I want you to create A culture creates a culture of grace, not just rules. Many of us are rules and regulation driven, right? There are three things I need you to understand on this particular point. If all you do is judge a child, when all you do is judgment, children hide. Please pay attention. When all you do is judgment, children hide. When all you do is praises, children perform. When all you do is praises, children perform. But when what you extend to children is grace, right? And what happens is that children reveal themselves. What you want is for your child to reveal themselves. So judgment makes them hide, praises makes them perform, grace makes them reveal themselves. You want to really know your child, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because in knowing the ugly, you are able to quickly correct it, because we have raised another version of children, parents, who don't believe in correcting their children, right? Whatever they call it, all kinds of terminologies flying around the whole place that makes you powerless. It looks like you are being nice. No, Jesus learned obedience by what he suffered. There's a place of being tough where we say no and you insist on that no, right? The child may feel upset, he may feel bad. That's why you are the parent. Is accepted. He needs to know that the world out there is not going. And that's why many of these theories coming up, as solid as they sound, when your child gets into crisis or gets into trouble out here, the police is going to incarcerate your child. They are not going to say, oh, we are the ones who propounded these theories. No, your child is going to go to jail. And you don't want that to happen. So when a child is judged, he hides himself. When a child is praised, he performs. But when grace is what you extend to a child, the child reveals himself. And you always have to let your children know that no matter how bad it is, you can always talk to me about it before you even do it, at the level of intention. Because how did that boy manage to take the rifle, manage to hatch all these plans, and he did not even hint his father or his mother, right? They also discovered it in the news as much as every other person. And that's the last thing I'm going to talk about is you need to tune into what they are not saying. Tune into what they are not saying, right? Because there is what your child is not saying. That's why you need to observe their body cues. You need to check what are the changes in their tones, what habits, appeared or disappeared. Your child may have a particular habit. You should be able to observe that. If that habit has changed, you want to find out why did it change. So your child gets home at 3 o'clock, suddenly starts to come out at 5, right? Don't just take it as, oh, we have to stay back at school. Something could be threatening the child. A gang could be threatening the child. They could be threatening that if he doesn't join them, they're going to kill you. So your child, in a bit to keep you alive, may be going through a lot of crises that you're not aware of, right? What are they suddenly obsessed with, or what are they suddenly avoiding? These are critical questions that can guide you in understanding that you don't just, hear what your child is saying. You need to hear what they are not saying. I want to believe that this has been helpful for you, and I want to believe that we are going to do better. Trust me, we don't want your child breaking the news where there is your child's nude that is waking you up in the morning, or they said your child has joined a band gang, or your child has been arrested, and you are wondering where did you go wrong? Because for many of us, when our children go bad, we blame ourselves. You don't have to blame yourself. Let us take precaution. Let's all do what we need to do so that we can safeguard the future of our children. Now, if you're a parent in North America, we're starting a class on Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, right? We're mentoring African children. We're using a curriculum that is a combination of African history, because a lot of the African children in diaspora, they don't know anything about African history, especially African heroes. Then it also has a biblical content as well. So we're going to teach faith for every module, and then neuroscience. Basically, what we're doing is to mentor them into leadership, a leadership-based program for ages 7 to 17. So if you have a child within that age range, you can use the scan code, in front of you to sign up your child. Or if you want to do it yourself kind of thing, you want to parent better, you can use the other one, which is Family Combo, and then you can scan that and get that. This video is going to be available on YouTube, so you can go there and watch again and share with your friends and family. It's also on Facebook. After now, you won't find it on Instagram again. So you have to, if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, Praise for Well Life, go ahead and make that happen. But if our job is to co-parent with you, especially if you live in North America, and ensure that your child is strong, your child is confident, your child is bold, and your child can achieve the best result for himself. I want to believe that this has been helpful. We no longer want to have children who become cultists, because once there's an imbalance at the realm of the emotions of your child becomes susceptible to all kinds of evil. May God preserve your children. Bible says our children will be taught by the Lord, and great shall be their peace. God will keep your children, He will keep your family, and your children will turn out right. I'll see you some other time. Have a fantastic day, fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. I am Praise for Warware, the world's leading family systems strategist. And I don't just fix homes or families, I build legacies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.